Hey everybody, Rob from Karma Comic Chameleon coming at you with another Ask Reddit thread. Have you ever woken up in the middle of a dream and the dream was so interesting that you wanted to go back to sleep to see the end of it? If so, what was the dream? Let's jump right in. Was exploring a jungle with a group of, I assume, friends. We ended up discovering some kind of temple, but it was dark, so we decided to set up camp. I was charged with gathering dry wood and leaves for the fire. While macheteing my way through vines, I heard my name being screamed by one of the group members in a terrified way repeatedly. Woke up to see my mom yelling my name and to get the F up already. I never found out what the temple was. I used to have lucid dreams in my early to mid-20s. As soon as I'd realize I was asleep, I'd start flying or just rising to the ceiling because it was a cool way to test it. Then my immediate thought would be, who should I pretend to sleep with? And the excitement over that possibility woke me up every damn time. I learned I could fly, but I had to teach myself. Woke up right as I was gearing up for the big test to see how high I could go, forced myself back to sleep, and let me tell ya, flying in a dream is way too effing fun. A long time ago, I had a dream that there were ghosts living in my family's garage. Nowhere else, just the garage. I somehow became friends with one, but she was unable to speak to me, leave the property that the house was on, and wasn't able to show any facial expressions that wouldn't be considered terrifying. Me and my ghost friend were playing on the house porch and two guys were trying to break into the house. She tried to stop them by scaring the living heck out of them by making a terrifying face and screaming the most blood-curdling scream ever right in their faces. I wasn't able to see the face she made, but I somehow knew it was there, and all I could hear was the scream. The people trying to rob the house ran off, but instead of celebrating, I curled up and started crying because of how terrifying the scream was. I absolutely loved that ghost, and I forgot that her whole purpose was to scare people, but she did it to protect me and the house. I still cried though, and she tried to cheer me up the best way she could. Then I woke up. I knew that it was a dream, but I didn't want to leave my ghost friend alone, knowing the last time she saw me was when she scared me to tears by accident. I tried to go back to sleep, and I did, and I somehow successfully re-entered the dream, only it was several years in the future. My garage still had a couple of ghosts in it, but not nearly as much, and the rest seemed to be oblivious to humans. I was going into the attic and found some pictures in there of me around the age I was friends with the ghost, and on a picture I saw a very faint image of her face standing next to me. I went down the attic and woke up. I didn't get to tell the ghost that I forgive her or anything, and I still feel some sort of emotional attachment to her. It was probably the best nightmare I've ever had, and one of the dreams I've wanted to go back to the most, just so that I can tell her that there are no hard feelings. I was friends with Jesus in the modern day, and he was sound, not preachy, one of the lads like. I have a story about when the opposite of this happened. It was an effing epic fantasy dream, let me tell ya. Evil wizard of some sort that I'm pretty sure was my 8th grade math teacher, kidnapped princess, a worthless but snappy sidekick that was my best friend IRL. This dream had everything. So I beat the bad guy, rescued the princess, and brought her back to the village of, I think, Ewoks or something? I don't know. Big celebration, everybody went hooray and stuff, and then it didn't end. We just kind of stood there, looking at each other. It felt like a long time. Ewoks just kind of start milling around and doing their everyday stuff. Made some small talk with the princess, and then eventually the dream ended, and I woke up. It was a strange one. A few months before I got married, I had a dream where Bill Murray was attending my wedding and asked to make a toast. I happily agreed. Then, before I could hear the toast, I woke up. When I wake up in the morning, I usually have around 30 more minutes before I have to actually get out of bed. If I'm having a dream before I wake up and I go back to sleep, I can usually continue the dream. Last night, I had a dream that I was in some kind of resort, Jurassic Park-like area. I went back to sleep this morning and managed to get into a relationship with a pretty hot dude who was working at the resort. I once dreamt that all of my family and closest friends were on the world's largest cruise ship. Along the way, we somehow were exposed to radioactive waste that gave us all superpowers or other mutations. I remember so vividly being able to use my mind to move objects with ease, and I threw donuts at my brother, whose skin had turned as hard as stone. This one girl on the cruise that we all universally hated, for reasons I can't remember, received a really random and useless mutation. She grew a really fat lizard tail, like a leopard gecko who has eaten a lot. She was crying about how ugly she was now, and all we could do was laugh. Then I woke up. I died in one of my dreams, so that was startling, but I was dead for a good 15 seconds or so in my dream, so that was interesting to say the least. I dreamt that I was part of some Eastern European resistance movement who had to speak in code and hide out in abandoned manors in the forest to plan our attacks against some fascist regime. We enlisted the Pope to help us, but when we went to meet him, he has double-crossed us because the regime we were fighting somehow knew the Pope was gay and was going to tell everyone. I woke up then, not knowing if my resistance group was executed or if we escaped somehow. I call it my gay Pope dream. Most nights actually, I very rarely have nightmares, and even those are very interesting. Life inside of my head is much more entertaining than reality. Hell if I know, all of my dreams fade away 20 seconds after I try to tell them to someone. The most I will ever remember is the feeling that the dream was awesome and that I want to go back. Never can. I had a nightmare about being a teenage girl with a group of friends on bikes hiding from and hunting down a shadow monster that killed dogs, and we tracked it down to some abandoned house and tried to rescue the dogs, but one of the dogs started barking and I had to try and calm it down before the monster came and got us, and my friend screamed from another room, but the dog... And then I woke up, and I will never know if those dogs survived. Wait a second. I had a nightmare about being a teenage girl with a group of friends on bikes hiding from and hunting down a shadow monster that killed dogs, and we tracked it down to some abandoned house and tried to rescue the dogs, but one of the dogs started barking and I had to try and calm it down before the monster came and got us, and my friend screamed from another room, but the dog... I'm someone who suffered from night terrors as a kid, and I can tell you I learned pretty quickly that if I stayed up really late and then went to bed exhausted, I wouldn't dream at night, and I still do that to this day. This is Rob from Karma Chameleon saying thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, and share the video with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one.